We begin, though, with some brand new reporting tonight on that Washington Commanders bombshell that has been lighting up your newsfeed. Owner Dan Synder is taking the first steps towards selling the team. The big question, will he? Tonight, we're getting brand new insight on what comes next.
Yeah, this is the kind of big coverage on big stories you've come to expect from WUSA 9. So Adam Longo is following breaking news on another investigation into the team. Our John Henry just spoke to local leaders to see what a sale would mean for a new stadium.
But sports director Darren Haynes starts us off. He's been working his sources for 12 hours now, and he's live from FedEx with what he's learned tonight. So, D, what do we know?
What we know right now, you guys, is that people are wondering, is Dan Synder looking into selling the entire team or just a portion of the team? And when I reached out to the Washington Commanders, they responded back saying they were exploring all options. Now, this is a really big deal because for years, Dan Synder has said he will never sell the team. But over the last few years, multiple investigations by the NFL, also the investigation for financial improprieties, which Adam Longo will talk about a little bit later. And Congress is also in the middle of their investigation. And not too long ago, Colts owner Jim Irsay recommended that Dan Synder sell the team. So there's a lot of pressure for Dan Synder to sell this team. Now, right behind me at FedEx Field, the last time the Commanders had a game here, they booed co-owner Tanya Snyder. And for Doc Walker, who won a Super Bowl with this franchise, feels like that was the breaking point.
I go back to alumni game and Tanya Snyder, for her to be booed, I felt that. I was like, wow. And I feel that's carryover from her husband.
If he's selling 100% of the team.
He's setting up his family for infinity. If he does this, we're talking $7 billion plus. This is going to be biggest deal ever. It's the only way he can go out on that. The only way he'll be applauded is in departure.
Now, part of this whole process started a few years ago when some of the former owners of the Commanders spoke out about the toxic workplace culture that also involved owner Dan Synder. And Melanie Coburn, I spoke with her today, and she has mixed feelings on how the former employees should feel about Dan Synder selling the team.
Not in my wildest dreams. I mean, maybe in my wildest dreams, but certainly not in my cautiously optimistic dreams did I think this day would come.
What are you hearing amongst some of the other former employees during this time?
Oh, we all have PTSD. Everybody's saying the same thing. We're like, should we get excited? We don't want to get excited yet. You know, it's too soon.
Now, if Dan Synder sells 100% of the team, it will be the most expensive purchase in sports history. The team is valued at $5.6 billion, Leslie and Zoe.
I mean, it's valued at that, but they can barely fill a stadium. This team is so confounding in so many ways. Dee, we're wondering about the timeline here. How long is this going to take for this potential sale to play out?
Well, it could take time. They go through a certain process where they have a financial committee on whoever's going to be purchasing the new team. They have four meetings that the owners have. One is in March, May, then they have one in October, which we were just at in New York, and then there's another coming up in December, on December 14th. These owners can vote for Dan Synder to push him out or to vote to have a new owner purchase the team, but it's going to take time. So for an example, the Denver Broncos, they sold their team on February 1st, 2022. They did not announce or agree or vote to agree on a new owner until more than 6 months later in the month of August.
Wow, this is interesting. That's an interesting timeline there, as early as December and maybe as late as 6 months after that. All right, Dee, we knew we'd be following it, and we will be too. Zo?
All right, Les.